The tutorial I'm going to show you today has to do with custom Photoshop shapes, which are your CSH files. Some of you may be familiar with them, some of you aren't. This product, by the way, if you don't have Photoshop, you can still use it because I did provide the PSD file and PNG files. So everybody can use this. If you can't use it fully for shapes, at least you can use it for elements or something like that. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so let's get started on this tutorial. When you download your file from Pink Ink Studios or from me, usually they're zipped up. That just archives a bunch of different files into one and it compresses it. So if you're unfamiliar with zip files, do a Google search. There's a lot of great information on zip files. I double click it to open it and then it opens a folder for me. And when I look inside, I see multiple files here. And there are basically three types of things that you're going to be working with here, or you can work with here. I created this so that if you have problems with PNG files, that you can work with the Photoshop file. If you have problems with the Photoshop file, you can work with the PNG file. Then the other file you're going to find in here is a .CSH file. Now don't double click it and open it because it's not going to work that way. It's the actual shapes that you load into Photoshop. So when you're in Photoshop, if you come over here and you click on the shape icon on your toolbar, and then you look up here and click on the one that looks like a star. Okay, when you click on this one that looks like a star, it's going to open up your custom shapes palette. So you just click on that little arrow next to it, and you'll see all these shapes that come with Photoshop. Now, the cool thing about shapes, if you're not familiar with them, let's just create a quick little piece here. If I were to click on one of these and hold down my shift key, I could draw shapes with it. So that's what's really cool about shapes if you're unfamiliar with them. Now, what I want to do is open that palette up like that, and then I want to come in here under this arrow key, scroll all the way down to load shapes, and then I need to look for that particular CSH file, and it should be right there. So I'm going to go ahead and click load after I've clicked on it, and it will append them to my files here. So I have all these new shapes here. So now I can come in here with the shape and I can draw it in. So that's really, really cool. Now the cool thing is I can make that any color I want by double clicking and choosing a color, or I can make a clipping path or mask for it. So I can take and drag it on top of that. Let's shrink that a little bit. Let's go to 10. That's better. And by applying my clipping mask commands, I can apply it to that shape. And I know I did a tutorial on this the other day, so if you want to look back and find that on the Pink Ink Studios YouTube channel, that'll help. But for my Mac, it's my Command Option G, and I believe for PC that's Control plus, let's see, Control Alt G, and for earlier versions it'd be different. So yeah, so now I have this cool shape applied to my photo. If I want to put a border around the shape, I would double click the shape itself, come down here and click on stroke, and then I can, choose maybe black if I want it to be big, or if I want it to be centered, however I want it to be. And then I've got this really cool thing I can work with here. So that is kind of the gist of these. Other thing you could do is, if you wanted to, some of the files that we already have in Photoshop, like this is my senior magazine template, which I just love it. I think it's so cool. If I wanted to replace, some of these things, I could. Let's see. I made it a bunch of circles, but I'm going to come in here and choose this burst instead and move it behind there. So I could actually change out some of the things that are in the store already, like in the cards and stuff like that. So I could definitely customize things, without having to use them exactly as they are. Oops. So look, how cool is that? So that is custom shapes, and the file that you see here is going to be free at Holly McCaig Design or Holly McCaig Creative's fan page for a limited time. Once it's gone, it'll go for sale in the store at Pink Ink Studios. So just wanted to share that with you and hope it gives you some new ideas.